Okay, now that our materials are set up correctly, there's one last thing we need to do before we export this. So every transformer, to spawn effects on a transformer, we need empty group nodes. So for example, if I create a node and call it fx underscore damage01, for example, and I attach it to the shoulder, this will tell Unity that this is a good place to spawn some VFX when the robot gets damaged. Normally we have a lot of these nodes populated in the rig. So if I search for fx underscore, you can see there's one called fx ground, and that's usually for death animation, or death VFX rather. Somewhere along the line, these nodes got deleted, and usually that happens if you go to a file, optimize scene size, and if you have transforms checked. So if I check this and optimize the scene, you'll see that the empty transform, so the new one that we created, gets deleted, but ones with something in their hierarchy, like this parent constraint, will still remain. So to restore these transforms, there is a script under SpaceApe T-Rex fix nodes. So if I go into the script editor, you'll see there's a bunch of nodes that were missing that got restored. So we see damage, impacts, all these are here, along with some attachment nodes. So there's an attachment. So this is the node that the weapon actually gets attached to. So there's another case where we want to add nodes, and that is with the weapons. So if I will need to add fx gun 01, and it kind of depends on the transformer. Sometimes we may have to attach nodes to the missiles, for example, if we want missile VFX to fire, but that will be specified in the brief. So I'm gonna add the FX gun node, and I'm gonna move it to the barrel of the gun, the tip of the barrel. And notice how I parented under the WPN Overlord gun group. That means this will get exported into Unity as well. And if I move the weapon around, the node is still here. Sometimes we need to parent these under joins. So if we add an extra node, say for the missiles, would actually have to parent it to this join, which is the BN ARM part 4. But we don't need it in this case. So let's do another export. And let's go to Unity. It's going to ask us if we want to regenerate prefabs. We're going to say no for TRP Overlord, and yes for WPN Overlord gun. The reason we're saying no to the troop is because we're going to generate those prefabs manually, because we need to do some additional work, while for the weapon, we don't really need to do any additional work, so we're just going to yes. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is, we have all the animations inside like basically the same FBX. So what we need to do is, we need to separate these into clips. And to do that, we simply need to type in the name of the animation. So in this case, will be transform to main hero. And the animations need to be named exactly like this. So every single bot has the same animations, basically the same 4 animations. And that's transformed to main and transformed to alt hero, and then the battle versions of these animations. So the hero ones are slightly longer, and they're just used in the showroom, while the battle ones are just used in battle, and they're much shorter for gameplay reasons. Normally these kind of animations come from, or there's animation ranges we can get for now. So let's go to Overlord, animation timings. And I can see, I'm just gonna dock this like that. I'm going to open Unity. Right, so transform to, actually our first animation is transform to alt, so let's change that. And that's from 1 to 360. So we can see that's working. And so the next one, transform to main hero, which is from 400 to 699. Let's play that just to see. And transform to main. So the battle animations are named the same, but they don't have the hero prefix. So this is from 740 to 808. So after we're done with this, we're just going to click apply. It's going to ask us again, do we want to regenerate prefabs? We're going to say no. Okay, so these animations are working. The next thing we need to do is create the prefabs for Overlord. So we're going to control click on TRP Overlord and TRP Overlord Alt, and then we're going to right click and then go T-Rex create troop prefab and click go. It says we're missing transform to alt, but that's okay because for combiners we don't really have battle animation where we transform to the alternative version. So we're going to click OK. And we can see we're generating TRP Overlord Lot 0 prefab and then Lot 1. So let's examine the newly created prefab. So that's our FBX. And we have Lot 0 and Lot 1 prefabs. Let's drag this into the Unity viewport. Right, so you can see that the prefabs are what we actually use in game. They have a few scripts attached to them to make them work with just the game engine. And you can see there's stuff like the attachment nodes here as well. These are the ones that we added with the script earlier on. There's other things we can check for as well. So if we click on the main group, you can see there's animators assigned, more effects nodes, and animation controllers. So that all seems like it generated nicely. So the next thing we need to do is go to fork. And normally you get all this unstaged. So we need to make sure that we only commit things that are related to Overlord or the things that we just added. And these things are normally the controllers. So there will be a bunch of controllers created with the prefab creation process for the animations. We need to submit all the materials. For every FBX, there's a split folder that is automatically created from our prefab creator. And this is all the meshes and animation assets separated from the main FBX, just so for easier loading, I believe. So we submit those. Same for the old version of the FBX. And we also need to commit the actual FBXs along with the meta files for the folders. We just do the same for the weapon. Most importantly, the prefabs. And all the textures. We're gonna add a message called adding Overlord and his gun. And we're just gonna commit this. So all these files, they're just for the one character. And on T-Rex model, we'll notice that there's a few JSON files created. And these are just to kind of link the override controllers. You don't need to know exactly what these do, it's just every time you create a new character, you need to make sure that these are pushed. So I'm going to commit. And after that, all we need to do is just click push. And that's it. Our character is exported into the engine.